Okay. Hello, I'm here, and Maya is there. Hi, Maya. And today we're gonna try to make our first script. The script is basically for copying the selected items randomly. I think I showed it some classes back, like this. So it will make another sequence using the same items. And here, okay, so we will try to remake it. Anyway, so let's start. Let's start by creating a new script, actually. So new actions, new Reascript, and we will search where we're gonna save. I will save in aulas, video classes, and I will say, oh, this is very important. When you start a script, remember our pattern, which is put your name and then underline and the name of the script. This will make your actions list much more organized if you start with your own name. And people using your script will like that because they can search using your name. So this is the standard for now. So start with your name, underline, and the name of the script. I will just skip this standard because for these videos I will be calling all the scripts called classes, just for my own organization, and because these scripts aren't for distribution, it is just for these classes. So I will call classes, and I will call it random sequencer dot Lua. Okay, let's save it and let's start to edit. Okay, so I am here with a new script. I will just place the function that we made last video, or print function. And now, before we start talking about making a script, we will talk about types inside our script. So types is what are something. For example, if I put a number like the number 5, the number 5 is a number, it's a type. We saw other types in our last video, for example, strings. Strings like hello world. They aren't a number, they are a piece of text. Or we saw also things like true or false, which are booleans, right? And we saw also numbers. So there are other things that another type that we saw, which is a function. So here we are determining a function. So print is a function, this is a number, these are booleans, and this is a string. So these are already 4 types of the 8 Lua types. There is one that we won't gonna talk today, which are threads, and we won't gonna talk about it, but the other 3 we're gonna use a lot. Okay, so the other 3, one very important one of these 3 are the new. What is new? New means nothing. It is nothing. So when you start a variable, for example, you say a equals to 50, before a be equals to 50, a was equal to new. All variables that don't exist are new. And if you want to erase a value, for example, I need a equals to 50, and then I don't need it anymore. So I can say a equals to new. The other 2 things that we need to see are tables and user data. First, let's see user data. So let's try to get our first selected media item. For example, let's try to get this item in here, the code. So a variable will point directly to that media item there. So let's say item, and then we need to find which functions point to it. So let's go to our famous website from XRAM. We are here. And here you can search, for example, for item, and you can see many functions for items. So let's try be a little more specific, like selected item. So we have counted selected item. So this will count how many we have selected. Get selected media item. This is what we want. We want to get selected media item. And you can click here, it will copy the function for you, which is very classy. And it wants two things. It wants a project, which is also user data, and it wants a selected item. And this is the type, is integer or a number. So you can see here when it is declaring the function for us, it says a variable name, which could be anything, but it says which type we want, a Reaper project and a number, and it will return a media item. So let's put this here. So this should return a media item if we feed a project and a selected item. So this selected item is which one we want. We want the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the 50. So we want the first. So you would put the first, right? Right. Actually, no. You would put the 0 because we count inside Reaper. So many times we will count starting at 0. So 0, 1, 2. So these 3 we would count 0, 1, 2, not 1, 2, 3. Okay? Just remember, some things start at 0 and some things will start at 1. And you will need to mess a little to discover where is 0, where is 1. But a basic rule of thumb, if it is a Lua thing, it starts at 1. If it is a Reaper thing, it starts at 0. But mess a little and you will find very easily. So item will return if we feed. Now we need to feed the project, right? So functions that need a project, we can feed it really a variable that points to a project, like for example, project equals to enum projects. And if you go to our famous website here, I don't remember what this function say. Okay, so it says less 1 for the current project. And okay, this is enough. We can say less 1. And this should return the project, but normally you will see in the Reascript scene this equals to 0 unless you need to be a function for another project that isn't the focus said one, like you want to work in the background in another project. So project equals to 0, a number, it will also work in this function because every function that wants a project, it will accept the project itself as that you can get with that function and num projects, this one. But it will also accept the number 0 to say, oh, I want the Foxed project. So we will just pass 0. And so this should return item now. Let's save this. And you can see here, this is the Reaper watch list. So you can watch all the variables. You can see that item equals to a Reaper object. So that is what we want. We can even say print and item. And this is returning, oops, a user data type. User data types are a Lua type that contains all of our Reaper types, okay? And the Reaper types that we have are, you can see here, projects, you have tracks, you have items that are inside tracks, and tracks are inside projects, and inside an item you have takes, okay? Even if an item doesn't have just one take, like this one, it have one take, so you want the first take. And if you have more, then you have more. But every item have a take. And you also have envelopes, and you can see here functions for envelopes. And you also have PCM sources, which are a type that is pointing to a file, to an audio file or a MIDI file. Okay, so these are some basic types, and there is one type that we didn't talk it, and we're gonna see now which is tables. So tables work more or less like a locker. You go to the locker with a key, and this key will open some vault that will return some value for you. So think of this, like this is a table, and here you will connect a key, right? And after this key is connected, it will return the value that is on the other side. So values and keys, okay? Key and V. So for example, if we create first a table that have the key 1, we will return with the value 10, the key 2 with the value 20, the key 3 with the value 30, and let's say the key hello or hi, with the value of you. So keys and values can be strings or numbers or tables or user things, and they can be any type you can store as a key or as a value. So even you can put a table inside a table, like for example, you can say 4 here equals to another table, so T2, and here the first key can be opening another table, and the first key here can opening, I don't know, Reaper item. Or you could have an item here that returns, for example, the pitch of the item, which is a number, right? Like for example, 12 semitones, something like this. And tables are really, really important in Lua. So what we're gonna use a table today, let me, as I am already with this drawing thing, let me draw what we're gonna do. We're gonna get all of our selected items. So for example, if I have these 3 selected items, we're gonna get these 3 selected items and put them in ascending order on a table. So we have the table called cell underscore items, and we will have the keys 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will be returning the item, selected item 1, selected item 2, and so on. So this table we can use as a set of items that we gonna be using for pasting. So every time that we gonna paste an item, we're gonna go to this table and see, which item I want, and we're gonna pick randomly from between all the options. So let's say, oh, first time I'm gonna paste here. So I'm gonna go to this table, I'm gonna throw a dice and say, oh, I want the item 2, and we're gonna paste the item 2. Then we're gonna do this again, and then I'm gonna throw the dice and see, oh, it's 3, so I want the item 3. So this table is really useful to store this information. So how we can store things inside a table? In this video, I won't see all the ways we can store things inside a table. I will leave this for the next video, which I will dive deeper in tables. But the basic thing is that we can say a table like this. T equals to curly brackets. So T is already a table. And we can see here T equals a table with size 0 because there isn't anything inside it. So we can see T equals to curly brackets and put like 20, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now we have a table with size of 5, and on the table with key 1 we have the value 10. Table with key 20 we have the value, table with the key 2 we have the value 20, and etc. So this is a basic way to store things in a table. You can insert more things in this table, like saying T. For example, you could also use a function like t.insert, and we say which table we want to insert, so table T, and what we're gonna insert. So let's insert the 60. So now we are declaring 5 values in ascending out. In this ascending order, so key 1, key 2, key 3, key 4, key 5. Now we are putting our key 6 with table.insert, and you can see that it was inserted. You could also say manually where you want to add, like T, and say like 7, and we want to insert the number 88888. So now we have 7 things in your table. You could also put a string here, for example T, and if you put a dot, whatever comes after it is a string. So table dot whatever comes next is a string. So let's say hello world equals to go vegan. So t.hello world equals to hello vegan. So this is a string, hello world, and go vegan is also a string. We could also say t.hello world equals to our item there. Okay, Reaper object item. And to assess things, you could assess them, like for example, let's try to print our item there. So we could say print.t, and we put our string here, hello world, and this should print our item, right? Oh, you were already printing it, but it is also printing. And okay, so this is the basic of a table, how to insert it. We're gonna see more about tables in the next video. And so now let's try to start to make our own script. So first things first, let's erase this, and we're gonna need actually project equals to 0, okay? And first thing that we must do is make a loop, right? So we need to pick our this selected item, this selected item, this selected item, insert all of these in a table, right? So how we can make a loop through them? We can make a loop by saying for equals to, for I equals to 0 to 2, because it's 0, 1, 2, do, end. So this is the basic syntax that you need to know to make a for loop, which is gonna be updating this I variable. You could call it anything, like for example index or Maiazinha, which is sleeping right there, right, Maya? Don't want to say anything. Oh, you could say item index. I think this will be good. So item index, and now item for this part of the code will run 3 times 0, 1, 2, and item index will be updating each time. So so let's get the selected item. Get selected media item. And now we say which project we want. And now we say which selected item we want, which is item slash index, right? And okay, this will return the item, but we need to insert it in a table. So let's, before the loop, create a table, call it selected items equals a table. Okay, so we need to insert it on a table. So we say table dot insert, and we put here the table cell items, and we put what we want to insert. In this case is the item we just got. So this will be creating our table. So if I selected our items and run it, you can see it returns, it returns a table with our 3 object items. So are these 3. So but you are probably thinking, wait a minute, but with this I can only select the first 3. I want to select whatever number of selected items I want. So we're gonna count how many selected items we have. So let's call it a new variable called CNT, or count selected media items here. And this functions wants a project. We're gonna say proj, like this. So this will return probably 3. And let's see. Oops. If I run it here, count equals to 3. And now, but we have 3 selected items. It should return 3, but we don't want to go to 0, 1, 2, 3. This would return 4. We want to go 0, 1, 2. So we always want to count less 1, because if you are counting, for example, 5, you will count to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the index is always less 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you start at 0 and go until your count less 1. Okay? So count less 1, and this should return the items exactly as we have before. And here we need to stop a little to talk about local variables. Okay, what are local variables? So for example, imagine that inside our function here, or if we create another function, call it example, and we don't want anything inside it, but let's say someone passed you a function that do something that you really like it, but inside that function it had variable called cell items equals to 50. And after that, you call, after you getting all your table here, you call it that function to do whatever you needed. You will have a problem because you are colliding variable names. The function that someone send you have a variable name that you were using in your script, and you can see the confusion. Every time someone send you a function, you need to see all variables if they are not colliding with yours, and it will be very confusing in time. So there is something that we do, which is called a local variable. Local variables, they exist only in their own scope. So if I run this, now you can see that my selected items table wasn't affected by this because this variable was only existing on its own scope. A scope is start and stop. For example, in a function, it starts and stops in a for loop, in a if condition. So if true, do, and if true, then end. And you can say here you could say local cell items equals to 52, and these don't affect our cell items, and these don't affect our cell items. So it's a really recommended to always use local variables. You use the most less scope as you can. You try to not put things as global. Global variables are not local variables. So let's make all variables that we had local. So this will be local. This will be local. Also, as a bonus, our script will run faster. I read in an article that in certain cases it can be like 20% faster. In these small cases, it won't really matter, but let's do the right way, right? Local. And this here, you can already see a difference in our script, because this item will only exist in this for loop. If we try to print it outside the loop, it will return new. It doesn't exist outside this scope. But if we put this exactly line inside the scope, it will print 3 items, which are on the first loop, on the second loop, and on the third loop. The first, the second, and the third item. Okay, so these are local variables. Use as much as possible. This is the rule of thumb. Use as much as possible. Okay, so we are ending our first loop. That's fun, right? And let's now make a loop to copy and paste our items. So let's make a loop that copies and pastes 100 times selected items. So for I equals to 0. Let's start with 0 to 99. So it's 100. Do and inside here we're gonna put a function. What is our logic here? First, we need to unselect all media items. Then we're gonna roll a dice and see which of the items that we had selected we're gonna select. Then we're gonna select just this item, copy them, paste them, and start again the loop. So let me put as a comment. So first thing we can roll the dice. It doesn't matter. But the second thing is unselect all items. Third thing is select just the rolled item, which are rolled here. Then copy the item, then paste the item. And this is what we're gonna do in our function. You can use these comments to help you to know what you are going to do. So first, let's roll the dice. So math.random returns a value randomly. For example, if I put 100, it will return a random number between 1 and 100. But we don't want 100. We want the number of selected items we had. We could use CNT here. It would return right, but I want to show you something which is counting how much keys we have in a table. We can use this symbol here, sustenido, hashtag, or well, I don't know, I call it hashtag. Hashtag, and we put the table that we have, C items, it's right, cell items, right. So this will return the count of how many keys we have. Just be careful when you are doing this in a table. The hashtag will return the number of ascending integer keys. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you had a table with the numbers 1, 2, 7, and then, I don't know, hello, it will, the hashtag and the table name would return just 2, because it's how this works. This hashtag and hashtag and table name will just return the numbers of ascending integer keys. So, but in our example, all of the keys are ascending, right? 1, 2, 3. So, and let's call it local random number equals to this. Let's print the random number just to see if we are getting it right. Random number. So, we are doing this 100 times, so okay. So, okay, it seems to be right. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, a lot of 1. This is basically randomly with few things. Okay, random number, we have rolled our dice. So now let's unselect all media items. We are unselected all media items to select the rolled item. We are doing this because we want to copy just this rolled item. We don't want to copy all items. So let's unselect it all. For this, we're gonna use a macro action or actions on our actions list. So search here for unselect items. Here, items, unselect, clear selections of all items. So right click in it and click copy command ID. Okay. So here we can say main on command. This is a really important function if you want to run an action inside Reaper. So if you want to, you can run inside the script any of these many actions that already comes with Reaper. And you can do that by using main on command, or if it is a MIDI function, it's MIDI on command. Okay, so main on command, and let's paste the number that it returned. So first it wants the command, it's this number. The second thing it wants is a flag. As a flag, we always pass 0 to this thing. There was discussion what the flag does, and for now let's just put that 0. I like to always after using a main on command, I like to put the name of the command. It will be really organized. So let's go here, and we wanted unselect items, unselect here this one, and now copy action text, and let's paste after the main command. So just for the next person reading this script, which can be us again, know which action we are running. So now let's select just the rolled items. So this I don't remember right, but let's go to our API here and let's search for items, select, set media item selected. So this we're gonna pass item, and we're gonna say if it is true or false that it is selected. So we're gonna pass random item. We're gonna say, oh, let's get the item, right? So it's sell items, and we're gonna get inside this table, we're gonna put the random number that we just got, and this is the item. Okay, so we put the table that has all of your selected items, and we are putting the random number inside it. So this returns the value, which is the item. And we put here the item, it's already there. And we say we want it selected or not. We want it selected. We are selecting just the rolled item. Now we're gonna copy the item using the copy command. So copy items. Here, copy items. So I will copy both at the same time. So main on command. And here I will paste the value and say the flag is 0 because it is, and we put a comment with the name. And now, can you guess? We're gonna run the paste command. Paste item, or just let me find it by shortcut. Paste item tracks, copy, main on command, and let's paste the value, the flag, and the name. Okay, so this should be copying and pasting the items. Let's see if it is working. Let me put it as this, copy everything. Wow, it's still copying. We could put a really big number here and freeze our computer. That's really cool. Okay, so this is the basic information on how to make a script. Let's just make the finishes. The finishes, I mean, update the range view. It's a really good thing to do because some functions, not in our case, won't update the range view for itself, and we need to call it. For example, after we end our script, you say update range and just close, and that's that. And very important, create an undo block. So we're gonna go there to the start of a script after your functions and say I'm gonna say undo begin block, and it wants which project. project we are defining a little later. So here, project, this is a undo block. If you go here to your undo history, you see that our script created a lot of paste items, selected all items, paste items, unselect, etc. And we don't want that, we just want one thing. So we go here and create a block, and then we close the block later. Block and block 2 project, and then the index, and then then the description. That so what the name we want? Sequencer random item sequencer, something like that. And then we're gonna put a flag, just put _1, and the flag is _1. There is discussions about that. I always use it _1. The others are for specific regions of Reaper. I didn't mess much to know more, but is putting _1 is actually very secure, so I just put _1. And now if we run again your script, I don't have any selected items. Okay, and if we see the undo history, it just created one block, so it's right. And just one more thing, let's click prevent UI refresh, and let's put, on the start of the code, just after the begin block, put prevent UI refresh, and we always start adding a value and close. This will prevent that our UI refresh of seeing that thing pasting. You will see the difference now. And if I copy this and paste right here, and then if you add it, you subtract later. Let me delete this. And now if I paste, you see it's instantaneously. This because this thing of pasting and updating the interface consumes a lot of time. So if you prevent Reaper from updating its screen, it will run much more faster. Just remember to enable it to update the screen later. And so these are basic information on how to make your first script. Okay, so we finish our script, and here is everything, so you can see all the code. And just so to add another information, I wouldn't do the same script like this, copying, running a function to copy and paste. What I would do instead is making a function to actually create another item, and I have a ready-made function for that. And UltraShell API also has a function for this. But this is a really great way to start to see how to make a script using actions lists functions.